This one's not exactly easy for me to talk about, but there is something to be said for being uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough to change. When you are so used to stuff that you just keep taking it even when it's really not good for you, but you're just used to it. So you just accept it. And you start to get to a place where you can't really imagine anything that much better anyway. So you just stay stuck. When I was growing up, I got to a point when I was 9 that I realized that other children did not live the way that I did. I thought every kid was experiencing the same things at home that I was. And when I did come to that realization, when I understood what I wanted instead, I broke. And unfortunately, it wasn't good. I was a child and I was trapped. I didn't have any other options. And so I got really messed up really fast. When I was a teenager, I got to a point where I realized how messed up I was. When I was 15 and a half, everything kind of fell apart for me so badly because it had been building up for years, ever since I was 9, to the point where I fully became conscious of that the path that I was on was a very bad one, and anything would be better, anything at all. And so I started choosing other things. I started pursuing anything that was different. And when I did that, I thought, okay, I did that, and it looks like change is going to happen. I can breathe a little. And I wish I would have kept going, and I would have kept doing that longer and more in my life, but I didn't. I grew up, unfortunately, in not the best situation. And when I got into adulthood, one of the first things I did was get myself into a relationship that was reflective of the very bad relationship I had grown up with. And so I went from an abusive childhood to an abusive adulthood. Yay me. And I was so used to that that I didn't know there were other options that could happen to me. I did know other options were possible in the world, and that other people could experience other things than that, but I did not put the connection together that I could be one of those people who experienced better and other things in a relationship. And so I kept, even once that relationship ended, kept going back to relationships that would be similar. And I unfortunately have a very long history of domestic violence against me by women. And that is not an easy thing to say. That is a painful thing to say. And I took a long time to come to terms with that. Most women are not like that. Most women are not like that. But unfortunately, I was very drawn to the ones that were. Because that's what I was comfortable with. Because that's what I understood I deserved, and that's what I understood was to be expected from me. And it was very difficult for me to choose better than that, or to pursue better than that. Because I was very uncomfortable. I was miserable. I did not like it. But I was not uncomfortable enough to be at a pivotal life-changing moment the way when I was 15 and a half. And so even though I changed a lot of things for myself from that moment when I was 15 and a half, and by the time that I was 18, 2 days after I graduated high school, I got out of that household and I was going out and I was doing anything else. Like I really, really pushed myself. That didn't extend further into more of my life. And now, you know, I have someone in my life who likes to say, whenever I start to feel uncomfortable with something, because it's usually good for me, she always says, lean into the discomfort. And I actually hear that in my head whenever I start to be like, can I do this? This is the person I want to be. This is what I want to be doing. But man, this feels overwhelming. And then I hear that voice in my head saying, lean into the discomfort. And if no one's ever said that to you, I am just putting it out there that you can get yourself stuck, really, really stuck with highly not okay things, with truly egregious things, because you get used to it. And getting too used to stuff is not gonna help you. And I say that even about things that aren't that drastic. You can get to a point in life where you just kind of get stagnant and everything's a plateau because you just kind of got too comfortable and you don't push yourself anymore. You don't try anymore. Your relationship's kind of dead because you don't even date anymore. You don't have sex anymore. You don't try. And you could say, well, I'm tired, or I work a lot, or, you know, well, now we have kids. We're not young anymore. Whatever it is. But in reality, you get used to accepting less than what it could be. And you get comfortable with putting in less effort than what you deserve, let alone your significant other. Maybe you have gotten into a plateau at work. You've been working at the same place for 9 years, even though you've heard before that if you transfer to a different place, it's automatically a better raise. That the majority of people who get a good raise in their career, it's from transferring from where they're working at to somewhere else to work within the same field. And yet you just keep working at the same place because you know these people, and yeah, you only get a 1% raise a year, and yeah, that doesn't beat inflation, but you're comfortable. It's fine. It's not like it's terrible. Some people hate their job. At least you're not miserable. It doesn't have to be a survival situation. And it can still be that you're too comfortable and you're kind of trapping yourself. And you're keeping yourself from things that you need or that you could reach. You're hindering your own potential. Maybe you just don't learn anything anymore. You've stopped reading books. You don't listen to podcasts. You think people who read news articles are weird and documentaries are boring. You don't learn anything anymore. You just kind of veg out. You dissociate from most of your own life. Whatever it is, there's a ton of examples. The point remains, don't get so complacent in your life that there's no growth, there's no hope. There is something very precious about actually being able to feel settled and content. But don't let that turn into, well, I guess I'm done. This is enough. Because it's not actually enough. And you can convince yourself of staying in some pretty uncomfortable places. You deserve better. You matter.